Khamzat Chimaev is doomed, just not for the reason that you may think. I mean, he is without a doubt one of the most dominant fighters and I'm sure you have ever seen. It feels like ever since he burst onto the scene at Fight Island back in COVID and lockdown, it all seems so long ago now. But back then, when he won 2 fights inside 10 days, with hardly even breaking a sweat, it kind of almost felt inevitable that he would rise and capture UFC gold. And of course, he went on to do so, even amidst many health scares and injury problems and prolonged periods of inactivity. He finally got over the line when he beat Dricus du Plessis just not that long ago. And now he is scheduled and penned in to make his first title defense against Sean Strickland. And I don't think he's doomed because I think he's going to lose to Sean Strickland. In fact, I think that fight is a gross mismatch, and I think we will see Khamzat Chimaev dominate the American on the mat. And although in MMA especially, nothing is certain, and I've had egg on my face in this regard many times before, I feel like many of you watching, you share the same opinion as me that this fight is going to be pretty one-sided. So it's not that. The real reason I think that Khamzat Chimaev is doomed is for something far more deeper and far more nefarious. Now, if you're tapped into the MMA space, and more specifically the career and trajectory of Khamzat Chimaev, you probably know exactly what I'm getting at. But it is his relationship with the dictator of his home republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, that is the real problem at play. I think it's pretty apparent that their relationship, if you even want to call it that, is somewhat one-sided. It's one born through power and influence and fear as well. As a high-profile athlete, I don't think this is something Chimaev has had any say in whatsoever. Ramzan Kadyrov's numerous grievances and transgressions go far, far beyond anything what I can just say. I recommend you go and look up the various human rights accusations he's had pinned against him over the years. Sort of long story short, he's not a good person, a good man in any sense of the word. He's someone who rules through fear and through power. And I think he is doing so with Chimaev too. And the latter has been criticized for his relationship as a result, but in the reality is I don't think he has a choice in the matter. I mean, you look at sparring footage of Chimaev doing rounds with Kadyrov's sons and he's letting them win. It almost seems like it's done out of necessity in order to not rock the boat, not upset the man who has really got a lot of control over his life. And the more concerning thing is, when we look forward, how do you look at where this is going to go? Because the reality of an MMA fighter, even someone as dominant as Chimaev, is that time remains undefeated, and it will come for someone like Khamzat, no doubt, eventually. Obviously, he's in his early 30s now. He's got the rest of his career ahead of him, but that time will end. His reign of dominance will come short, and he will be seen as mortal at some point in his MMA career. And when that happens, and when he loses his stature, his notoriety, his skill set, and his reign of dominance, and of course, that UFC belt, what does Kadyrov do with him then? Because the reality is, the reason Ramzan Kadyrov is with Chimaev and is associated with him is because he is at the top. It's because he has the notoriety, the power, the money, the influence. That's why he's there. So when Chimaev loses all of those things, what happens? He's going to chuck him away. And I don't want to infer or say what that might look like, but it's happened in the past with athletes who have had a relationship with Kadyrov where the most extreme reality and result has happened. And I'm not going to say it out loud or explicitly, but I think you know exactly what I'm getting at. And I do fear that the worst may eventually be on the horizon for someone like Chimaev. Now, other athletes in the UFC have almost been enticed by Kadyrov as well, perhaps to a lesser extent in terms of a relationship, but I believe it was Cejudo, Usman, and Justin Gaethje were paid lavishly to go and fly out and shoot guns and spend time in Chechnya with Kadyrov and his sons. I think it was celebrating one of his son's birthday. And obviously they were paid lavishly as a result. They wouldn't be doing so without it. And I remember Sean O'Malley speaking on it because he was offered that same prospect, that same opportunity as well. And he was smart enough to know to not get involved in such a realm, because once you're in, it's very, very difficult to get out. And I think Khamzat Chimaev is probably the best example of that.
That's the one I was gonna.
That
go
was the
there.
one you were
Yep.
invited to.
Yeah.
That's interesting because they're kind of facing a little backlash.
I've
about
heard.
that.
So, because the reason we never really ended up going is because we were saying like, who is this for? The guy is like a murderer, basically, the top dog.
Yeah, I think he's a
Like best friends with Putin.
Yeah.
Who's like not a good person, and that's who they went there to his kid's birthday party.
Now, regardless of what happens in the upcoming fight at UFC 328, I do think Chimaev will win, but that doesn't really matter. As I said, I think you have to look at the bigger picture because he is on a one-way trajectory, in my opinion. So when I say he is doomed, it is because of the influence and power and danger that a man like Ramzan Kadyrov really possesses and controls and has over him. I would love to know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Chimaev, whether you think he's going to win or not, or what you think about the wider topic of discussion with regards to his relationship with such a man. Like and subscribe if you like this new format. I'm loving making these videos for you guys, and I hope to create more in the future. Press that new hype button if it's there for you in the comments as well, and I will see you very, very soon. Have a good one.